we can actually batch transactions inside one transaction. And Midl does everything for himself in the background and then sends the user the result.
Hello and welcome to Gateway.fm. I'm excited to introduce our guest, Vlad, the founder of Midl, a framework for native BTC dApps. And today we will be discussing the innovative solution he's working on to enable smart contract execution on the Bitcoin blockchain. Welcome, Vlad. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me here.
Before we dive into the innovative solution you are working on, could you introduce yourself, tell us about your background and experience in blockchain technologies?
Basically, actually, I have like a legal and financial background, so I had like do some long way before I actually came in crypto. I worked in pharmaceuticals and life sciences, and I came to crypto in 2016. So I saw how the space actually evolved over time, and luckily I founded several projects like Prom, which is layer 2, Prosper, prediction market protocol on Binance Smart Chain that was acquired in 2021 by Animoca Brands, and now actually my new challenge is Midl, basically a framework, as you mentioned, for executing native dApps on the BTC network.
A really impressive background, but how did you come up with the idea of Midl? What inspired you to create it?
Me and my team, we were thinking about doing some new DeFi on the BTC, and the market was like, in order to do something with BTC, you have to bridge it and wrap it in the other chain. So we first initially wanted to do like a alternative to the wrapped BTC, making like a fully decentralized wrapped Bitcoin. But then we saw like emergence of new stuff in the space, like ordinals, runes, currently also have like a taproot assets, and I believe like last month USDT itself launched a stablecoin on BTC. So we thought that, yeah, we can actually not only do the wrapped BTC, we can do like a full DEX on the BTC. And then we actually had like a aha moment, I would say. We understood that actually if we can apply the DEX logic, we can actually extend this and support all kind of smart contract complex dApps on the BTC itself using the approach we created.
Yeah, so it unlocks a lot of new opportunities for developers and for blockchain community as a whole.
Yeah, that's, I think, could be actually a pretty new frontier here, because BTC is the most decentralized and secure network in the world, and there is obviously a lot of untapped liquidity there. And I think with Midl, we can unlock BTC additional utility and native potential.
But transaction fees are quite high on Bitcoin blockchain. Do you think it will be viable to execute smart contracts on Bitcoin blockchain?
We actually developed a pretty interesting solution here, because in Midl we can actually batch transactions in and basically not only transactions, I would say like interactions of a user with the dApp inside one transaction here.
So just as in rollups?
I would say, yeah, but like as in rollup, but here we apply the principle, we roll up each interaction basically. So user actually just goes to the basically user on the BTC network. He can take his native wallet, and what's cool about Midl that it actually supports all the wallets, all the native wallets of the BTC. You don't need to think of anything here. So user can just take whatever, it's Trezor, Unisat wallet, you name it actually. Just go to the dApp, connect with the front end, and actually do the interactions he wants and just sign one BTC transaction actually. And Midl does everything for himself in the background, bundles the transactions, bundles the interactions, and do it everything on the back end. and then sends the user the result. And this piling of transactions and the fact that we need only one block confirmation instead of 6 allows us to decrease speed and costs. So in the end, each Midl transaction would cost just a little bit more than a regular BTC transaction. So basically, we put just additional premium on the top of a regular Bitcoin transaction to make this EVM kind of compatibility and EVM execution.
Do I get it right that for the user, for the end user, the experience doesn't change? So it's just, he doesn't even notice that Midl is there executing transactions.
Yeah, that's actually the coolest part here, because right now there are several solutions and approaches how projects try to tackle the smart contracts on the BTC, and the most everyone is just building like a side chain, which works like similar like layer 2s on Ethereum, but essentially it means you force the user to breach their BTCs from the most secure and decentralized network to a more centralized solution, because a lot of those layer 2 solutions, they act as little roll-ups in the end, which is not bad, but it's kind of limits the centralization that echoes the BTC network here.
Yeah, and security is reduced in this moment.
Of course, because, you know, like from the security perspective, all centralized solutions that involve bridging, they are the most vulnerable thing. I mean, I believe like most of the hacks that happened in crypto was mostly bridges, so it's definitely the most vulnerable part. And in our case, Midl kind of tackles that, while people don't need to leave the BTC, they don't need to bridge it, they still exist on the BTC network.
Mm-hmm. And as you told, it is natively supporting all the BTC wallets.
Yeah, that's actually also the coolest stuff. So, like when you're building like a sidechain or layer 2, you always kind of need to force users to go there. You know, like usually it also means that users need to adopt like new wallet, like MetaMask, for example. But in our case, we support the whole native BTC ecosystem. For example, we support all wallets here, like just name any wallet that supports native BTC, and we support it out of the box. And also what's cool part, we support all native assets on the BTC. Actually, Midl is the only solution that supports ordinals and runes, for example. There is no other solution that supports that, because all other projects, they usually just bridge the BTC, but they don't allow bridging runes, for example. Thus, we give the new utilities to different rune communities, for example, creating like a rune DEX or ordinals exchange, whatever, you know. Thus, it kind of opens a new frontier for new assets emerging on the BTC.
Yeah, it unlocks thousands of opportunities, like the sky is the limit.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, like if we don't actually dive into some innovative stuff, I would say just imagine that you actually, as a Bitcoin user, you exist on like BTC chain, you have like BTC wallet, and you want just to sell your BTC, because obviously everyone thinks BTC is like gold. They don't want to spend it, and they like to spend, for example, stablecoins. But here, you just go to your wallet, go to just a simple dApp, and exchange your BTC to a stablecoin. Just in one block, in 10 minutes, you can just exchange it. You have your BTC exchange, and you receive the stablecoin, and then you can, for example, move that stablecoin to Lightning Network and pay it almost without fees later on, you know.
So no need for exchanges, no need for swaps.
Yeah, actually it means that you actually don't move from the Bitcoin network. Because in order to sell Bitcoin, you actually always needed to involve a third party here. but Midl allows you to tackle this. So exchange native Bitcoin to native stablecoin without leaving the BTC network.
Really innovative solution. How do you think what dApps will benefit the most from Midl?
I think our approach here is actually to build DeFi on Bitcoin. We think that our core stuff will be with DEXs, swaps, lending protocols, native stablecoins, liquid staking, and that kind of things. That's where we are actually engaging right now the most. And DeFi on Ethereum started in the same way. Actually, the first driver was USDC, stablecoin, and Uniswap. And you can just trade Ethereum for USDC and vice versa. And that was the first driver of creation of DeFi on Ethereum. And we think that in Bitcoin, you can do the same. So that could be DeFi, could be the first mover of chain adoption. And then maybe there could be some other new cases. That's the cool stuff. We are just building the infrastructure that allows others to engage with new ideas, to try new things, and hopefully get new use cases to continuously expand Bitcoin value.
And how do you plan to promote the solution and to get more developers onboarded and building on Midl?
Sure. So actually the thing with building on Bitcoin is a bit like reinventing the wheel here. So there is no open libraries, there is no open tools, or they're a bit limited. But thus we kind of use the EVM approach, which basically has already WAGMI libraries and different kind of open tools, as we are essentially give the same Ethereum EVM-like environment. We customized all these tools for Midl, so to allow Ethereum developers, anyone who knows the Solidity, to build stuff on Midl. And for many projects with whom we are speaking right now, from existing projects on Ethereum, it's actually pretty no-brainer for them, because it takes only for them 2 days to actually deploy on Midl and try to tap the liquidity and user base of the native Bitcoin network. That's basically one of the unique selling points here. Obviously, we do also other approaches like other chains do. We have right now a Midl program that incentivizes new projects to build something on Midl. We will conduct a lot of hackathons during the year and issue ecosystem funds that will have some kind of grants for developers that will build on Midl. But currently we have already 20 teams that are already building on Midl, and around 100 other projects in the works, in the communication, that are considering to do something new on Midl.
Yeah, it sounds beneficial, because if I don't need if the barriers is low to enter and it's unlocking me some new opportunities, why not to try?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's the same problem with any layer 2 solutions. For developers to do anything on the new chain, they always try to see, okay, what's the metrics of the chain? How much liquidity is there? How many users are there? So you have always this chicken and egg question. Mm-hmm. But in our case, we don't have it, because we leverage the existing liquidity and user base of Bitcoin. So which is one of the biggest one probably in the world, probably the biggest one. And thus, anyone who have a Solidity knowledge or expertise can just build on Midl and try to acquire user base for their dApp directly without thinking about chain kind of barriers, chain liquidity, etc.
Do smart contracts for Midl differ from smart contracts for Ethereum?
No, that's the cool stuff.
All the same.
Basically, we provide the same Ethereum environment for developers. So, and they can just deploy Ethereum contracts as is on Midl.
So I just copy-paste from my Ethereum network or some layer 2 network the smart contract directly to Midl, and it works there out of the box.
Yeah, that's the cool part. Like it's basically any kind of Solidity code can work on Midl, and we did like a lot of cryptographic work and research, and we basically merged the one private key for both BTC and Ethereum address. So just BTC uses one cryptographic methods and Ethereum others, but you basically have one private key that unlocks both your Bitcoin address and your Ethereum address. So basically you can easily, like in one click, transgress from your BTC address to Ethereum if you want. But we still kind of focus just on having the native BTC support here.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like it. But now let's dive into the technical implementation. Would it be correct to say that Midl is an abstraction layer operating on top of Bitcoin blockchain? Do I get it correctly?
Yeah, that's exactly what Midl is. So we are like abstraction layer here, and we just anchor every Midl transaction to user's BTC transaction and to BTC block. So like when user wants to interact with Midl, he just makes a simple BTC transaction, and our set of validators that run the Midl network, they do all the heavy lifting related to the smart contract on their side.
Does Midl use Bitcoin's existing consensus mechanism?
In a sense, it does, but for validators of Midl, they have basically our own consensus that has like delegated proof of staking. But as mentioned, they anchor each Midl transaction on the BTC block. Thus, kind of both consensus work in parallel here. But we still kind of leverage the Bitcoin proof of work, obviously, because we connect to each block.
And how validators are selected in this delegated proof of stake concept?
Like the idea, of course, that it will be permissionless, so anyone who has kind of Midl tokens can stake and join the validator network here. Of course, initially, during the first stage of mainnet, we wanted actually to have like a semi-controlled validator set. So we wanted to start with 12 validators initially, each backed by some kind of BTC or reputable institution in the space to create kind of more trust and branding here. But in the end, yeah, like we plan to start with 12 validators, then actually extend it to 100, and then make the chain completely permissionless so anyone could join actually.
Sounds reasonable. And how the chain is supposed to address scalability issues that may arise from enabling smart contract execution on Bitcoin blockchain?
Yeah, as mentioned before, like two cool things that we bundle the interactions in one transaction, in one block. We need only one block information, thus we decrease speed and transaction costs. And I think that like from the scalability point, all the hard work is done by the validators and the Midl itself. So BTC, you have just a regular BTC transaction here. So everything is done on the Midl side, and like after every block, you have the final confirmation and execution of what user actually wanted and intended.
Okay, got it. And let's talk about yields. How Midl enable native Bitcoin yields?
Yeah, it's actually pretty straightforward, and you have actually like two-fold aspect here. Obviously, as mentioned, to interact with Midl, users does like a Bitcoin transaction, and we put some additional fees related to Midl on top of his existing Bitcoin transaction. Thus we collect fees from every Bitcoin transaction that goes through Midl, and then distributed through the validators here. So thus, and gas fees are obviously in Bitcoin, and thus we create like a native yield mechanism on Midl. Additionally, every dApp can have its second kind of yield opportunities. Like for example, a DEX can have like, you can always provide liquidity on the DEX, thus earning the transaction fees on AMM, for example.
Cool. Thank you for explaining this. And what stage is the project at right now? What does the roadmap look like?
Actually, like right now, we are on the public testnet stage. So anyone actually already can join and test Midl. So like we already have all open tools and libraries ready. So you can just
go building
and try to build. Yeah, exactly. We plan to have like a mainnet in Q2. As mentioned, we'll start with 12 validators and then gradually expand it to 100 validators over this year.
That's impressive plan, like really fast development, and I'm excited to see how it grows, how it develops. I will be following you guys, and I will witness the success of Midl with pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was, I enjoyed all your questions here.
Thank you, it was a pleasure to ask. I learned a lot of new things. Thank you.
Thank you.